In today's video, how to lose fat while putting on muscle simultaneously. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss the idea of losing body fat while adding muscle, commonly known to as body recomposition. What I mean by that is, although you might actually be a similar weight, your body composition improves, meaning you have less body fat, more lean body mass. And this is kind of the holy grail for those of us that get into the gym. A lot of people will initially start just trying to get some body fat off, then they want to put the muscle on. But I promise you, if you do the two simultaneously, you can actually benefit both, meaning you can actually lose fat better while you're trying to build muscle. The caveat there is that the scale is probably not going to be the best guide for you, but we're going to discuss what will be the best guide. And today's question comes from right here on my Instagram direct message. So if you guys have questions you want to send, please feel free to do. And if you like evidence-based information around nutrition and training, hit subscribe. It's what I love to do here. So let's read the question and then let's get into it. Hi Paul, my goal is to preserve muscle and cut body fat as I'm on a cutting phase. I am doing a normal walk daily, low intensity for 40 minutes, burning 150 calories along with weight training 5 times a week. Is 40 minutes too much on a daily basis? Can I lose muscle? I am taking enough protein and a good diet. Thanks. So let's talk about the two aspects here. Let's talk about building muscle. What does it take to build muscle? So to build muscle, you need a good resistance training program and you need a good diet, okay? So let's talk about the basics of that resistance training program. Without getting into too much detail here, let's just say you need to be doing something that progressively adds over time more volume, more intensity. Meaning, if in the first week you're doing 3 sets of 10 with 20 pounds on a dumbbell curl, and after 6 weeks you're still doing 3 sets of 10 with 20 pounds on a dumbbell curl, well, you're gonna plateau and not be making progress. So you wanna be adding progress. What would be progress? Well, 3 sets of 10 with 25 pounds would be progress. Also, 4 sets of 10 with 20 pounds would be progress. So you see there's many different variables that we can do to increase training volume and training intensity over time. So you just need to be doing something that progressively overloads the muscle. The stimulus is what makes the muscle grow. Now for beginners, oftentimes you don't need much of a stimulus. So we can see some amazing transformations, much like the ones I saw in my transformation challenge. We had our first ever ProPhysique transformation challenge, was over 1,000 entries, gave away $5,000, and the winners made some amazing transformations. And if you're interested in the next one, which the prize money is going to be quite a bit higher, I'll put a link below to sign up for the notification when that starts. So what you see with beginners oftentimes is that stimulus has been missing for so long that you'll see a rapid increase in lean body mass. Likewise, if somebody is well above their body fat set point, they're very, very heavy, and they've been kind of not paying attention to their diet, they can lose body fat pretty rapidly. This is where we can get into a period of insane physical transformation, okay? But that stimulus for building muscle remains the same. You need to be training. Protein. Protein is the most important variable when it comes to building muscle. Why? Well, it is the building block of muscle and it's important for recovery. However, if you're getting your protein needs met, which I would suggest you focus on about 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Now, if you're somebody who's much heavier, overweight, you can go as low as say 0.8 or even lower because you can focus on your lean body mass. But just for the sake of this discussion, let's just say you're a 200-pound male. That would mean anywhere from 160 grams of protein a day to 240 grams of protein a day. That's gonna really help you build muscle, and it's also going to be great for satiety. Now, the real issue with protein is that preparing it and storing it can be difficult. So oftentimes you need to be planning ahead, cooking in bulk. What I like to do is focus on using things like protein shakes. Now, if you do this, you're able to get a protein dose in that's very good, very high quality, without having to prepare food. And oftentimes the biggest barrier to entry for many of us that are trying to get into a fitter lifestyle is our schedules, is our routine. But when you make those changes, you're going to see some fantastic benefits. So let's just say you're getting your protein needs met. Where do your carbs and fats need to be? Well, If you guys want a complete guide for beginners, I have everything from diet, from training, from a gym schedule, from how to pick a gym, all those things. I have a free guide below. It's a free beginner's guide to nutrition and training. But I just like to set up my fats around 20% of my total caloric needs. For men, I don't usually like to go below, like, let's say 45 to 50 grams of fat a day. Once you start to get below that, you can start to have some issues with hormonal production from just low dietary fat intake. Then I'll use carbohydrates being the biggest variable. However, I really like carbohydrates. I prefer my clients and my athletes to be taking in as many carbohydrates as we can. Why? Carbohydrates are fantastic fuel for muscle building. They give us great performance and great recovery. So anytime I have someone on a lower carb approach, I really try to urge them to really shuttle those carbohydrates in around their workouts just to make sure their performance is very good. And anytime you're getting below 100 grams of carbs a day, you can start to get in a place where it can be very difficult to train and recover. But I won't get into those details here. So now we are covering our training, we are covering our diet. The next big variable here for you was the cardio, and you mentioned walking. I would venture to say that there is no amount of walking that you can do that is going to be bad for muscle building, as long as the first two statements are true, that you're doing some resistance training and that you're getting adequate protein and your calories are in a good place. In fact, the last time I got shredded, all I did was walk. You know, the most walking I did would be 2 hours a day. But for many of us that have an active lifestyle, being on our feet for 2 hours a day is just a part of life. I can look back on times in my life where I worked in construction, where I worked as a waiter, and I was certainly on my feet for hours a day, right? So walking to me is probably the best form of cardio because, well, it can be great for just kind of reducing our stress and our, make sure our overall well-being is good. You can use it as a social activity. You can enjoy the outside or, time with friends and family. You can use it as a time to be on a phone call if you're at work. But moving is just a great way. Now, you don't want to interfere with your training recovery, and that's really why I like the low intensity varieties. But if you love high intensity cardio and you love other forms of exercise, things like CrossFit, well, that can be a great way to get things done too. You just need to constantly make sure that you are progressively overloading, that you're getting adequate protein and that your diet is good, and that you're creating a caloric deficit. Now, you can actually lose body fat pretty easily when you get all these situations happening, especially if you don't have a long history of dieting, okay? So just putting yourself in a very good position is going to be the best tool you have. Now, how do you know if you're adding muscle and if you're losing fat? Well, the scale is not the best tool for this. Why? Well, because when you add lean body mass, the scale is likely to go up. And when you lose body fat, the scale is likely to go down. So you might actually be seeing some fluctuations that don't make sense. The best way to track, in my mind, is pictures and measurements. The reason being, in the gym, you're gonna notice when you are making some performance improvements. You're gonna notice like, wow, last week when I went to bench press 135, I only got 10 reps. This week, I was able to get 12. You can safely say, well, seems like I'm putting on some muscle here. And I would assume that is correct as well. But when it comes to weight loss, if we just go by the scale, you can get down on yourself if you notice the scale is not moving as rapidly as you like it to. And that's why I think some people avoid the idea of working out. They just want to see the scale go down. And that's fine. You have to do what's best for you. But I would highly suggest you track some measurements. My favorite being the waist, right around the navel. Why? Well, because there's no muscle there. If you're losing inches on your waist, you are losing pure body fat, okay? The idea of inches coming off the body is a fantastic measurement tool. Now, if you are also looking for another way, pictures, both front and back, using a ring light or some good lighting so that you can consistently see the changes. There's another way that I can ask my clients about their progress, and it's kind of a tricky one, but everyone's gonna start nodding their head when they hear it. Your clothes fit differently. That's right. Pants that were once tough to button are soon easy to get up. Shirts that used to feel tight now feel comfortable, okay? You'll actually start to notice changes in your wardrobe. Heck, some of your sleeves might get tighter on your arms when you start adding some muscle to the shoulders, the biceps, the triceps. You might start filling out your shirts a little bit better. And then the coup de grace, the best way to tell if you're making changes, people around you that don't see you for a week or two are going to start to notice, hey, what's going on? You look a little different. I see a little jawline there. You're standing up a little taller. So there are many ways to tell if you're progressing, and I just wouldn't want anyone to get down on their progress because they were only using the scale. It's all information. It's all tools in our toolbox. So download the free program if you're interested. There's also the link to get notified of our next transformation challenge. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.